Hello everyone, and welcome to Math 1316 Trig for Summer 2. My name's Terry Barnes, and I'll be helping you on this fairly quick journey. I want to take this time in this orientation video to show you how the course is set up, what my expectations are, and how I think you should approach the course. So let's look at everything we have here. So right here are the announcements. So there's already some announcements out here. There should be one at least weekly. I will do them on the weekend and talk about where we are and maybe where we should be, that sort of thing. There might be some in between if something comes up, but I would say at least one a week. And so you want to be sure and check those and pay attention to what is stated there. This one's really important. It's already out here about if you have not participated in the course by Thursday the 17th at 10 a.m., you will be dropped. The state makes that rule and we have to follow it. So please get in right away and work on at least one assignment before Thursday. So that's that. All right, over here is the content browser, and I've put things that I think you need and that are important right here. So you don't have to go looking for them anywhere special. I've put them right here. Across the top, there's also announcement tab content. This is where you'll do your homework and take tests. Your grades are here for Brightspace, but your Pearson gradebook is here. So several things up there that we'll look at as well. So let's go through these content items and see what we've got. Okay, first thing we have the instructor plan, which is our syllabus. I'm not going to read all of it, but we are going to go through a few things. Here is my contact information, and there's a phone number. I'm not in the office, but if you need or want to call and leave a voicemail, it will convert to email and send me, and I'll be able to hear that. Required text. So you have inclusive access. That means you didn't have to purchase a book, but an electronic book is included in the tuition, so you have access to that. You need a graphing calculator. I will be teaching with an 84 CE. If you use a different kind of calculator and you're familiar with it and that will do everything, you are welcome to use that. It's just that when I teach things and show things, it will be with a TI 84. Let's look down here. So course attendance and participation. You cannot miss, you're not allowed to miss more than 25% in an online course. And so the way I count attendance is activity. And you must show some activity each week to be present for that week. Whether it's go in and work on a homework assignment, take a test, either of those things will keep you off the in non-attendance. But you're allowed 2 such weeks of inactivity for me. After that, you're beyond the 25%. So on the 3rd week, if you weren't doing anything, you could be dropped. So keep that in mind. That's a rule, okay? We're going to look at this calendar again in a minute. Let's look at grading. So my course is split into homework, tests, and a final. Homework counts 30% of your total average, and you can work on homework assignments as many times as you want to improve your grade before the due date. And you can, on one question, you can try it up to 3 times. After the 3rd try, if you didn't have it right, it will generate new questions, new numbers for that question. So homework, you can just keep doing it over and over again until you get the grade you want, which I hope is 100. Test, there's 8 chapter tests. Now the first ones are really short, like three sections in the chapter, and so it says 8 tests, but some of them are very short, so keep that in mind. And tests count 50% of your final average. This red item is really important. Before each test is available, all the homework assignments must be completed with at least a 70. That's just saying you've got to pass your homework in order for the test to open, okay? There's a time limit for the test, and they'll be in a style that matches your homework questions. Final exam, 20% of your final average. All right, and I've already alluded to this. In this online course, attendance is based on participation. If you do not complete work in a week, that counts as an absence. And I will send you an email saying you were inactive last week and now you have an absence. So you'll realize that. So I think that's the main thing for this syllabus for right now. So let's go to the next item. Again, contact info, that has my office number and my email there. Calendar, let's go look at this. So in the calendar, it has week 1, week 2, etc. Nothing is due at a specific date. All of your work is available this first day, and it is all due at the end of the course. Now, you could finish early, and that'd be great, but you don't have any due dates till the end. So this is really self-paced, work as fast or as slow as you want to, keeping in mind that you only have 5 weeks and then the final. So I've put it in here like this so that you might use this as a suggestion. Maybe in week 1 you do chapter 1 and 2 and take those 2 tests because they're pretty short. Week 2, chapter 3 and chapter 4, that may be too much for you. You may need to slow that down a little bit. And then here's chapter 5, chapter 6, 7, and 8. And so that's a suggested calendar. If you don't get that much done in week 1, there's no penalty for that. It is just a suggestion. All right, we're back here, handouts. So there's a formula sheet that has a lot of identities and formulas that you may want to print. There is a unit circle. There's some trig graph paper. Phone apps. If you do not own a calculator, you can use a phone app for that. There's an Android one and there's an Apple one, so you could check there. And here is some algebra things that that might be helpful for you. So any of those handouts that you need or want, you could print and use. I would definitely print this one and have it as you do your homework and your tests. All right, now here is the meat of the course: problem sets, lecture notes, and videos. For every section, for every chapter, there's a problem set. That's practice problems, not homework. There's lecture notes with explanations, definitions, and these worked problems. And then there is a video for that section. So let's just go through the first chapter. We'll look at one of each. So chapter 1.1. All right, so we'll look here. This is practice problems. And there are 12 questions. The answers are there, but they're just practice. And so you may know how to do these already. That's great. But if not, we're going to go back and look at the lectures that go with this. All right, so now we'll go to lecture notes in chapter 1 and 1.1. And so we will see the notes that you would get if you were in class and information that's going to help you. This is something about the Greek letters, and that we sometimes call angles those, and maybe you know the names of all those. This is how to do angle measures on the calculator. There's some stuff there. And then you get down to the actual problems that we just looked at. And there's the work showing you can use the calculator or you can do it by hand. So we go through, and all of these are worked. If it's a calculator, I've shown you here and what to press. So everything's there on the lecture notes, but you may still want the lecture video. So let's go back and look at that. So when we hit on lecture videos, I have a YouTube channel for every course I teach, and so you'll get a playlist. So if we click here, we should have 4 short videos. If you click on that, you're going to get me talking through all that stuff that I just showed you worked out. So for every section, for every chapter, you will have a set of problems to practice, the lecture notes and worked out those problems, and a video for those problems as well. The other things that are here, final exam review, and we're not going to go over that right now, but there is a list of problems to focus on for the final exam. And if you needed the ebook, you could look here. I don't think you need it. I think I've given you what you need, but if you want it, that is available. But now let's say you've looked through section 1.1 and you've looked over the practice problems, the video, everything for that. And then you go up here to homework and tests. All of the homework and the tests are listed here. The due date for everything is August 13th at 6 p.m. That's not negotiable. I have to turn in grades. You've got to finish by that time. So keep that in mind. Don't come to the end and say, oh, I didn't know it was going to be due then. You do know. It's going to show you every time you come in here. So these are clickable links. If I click on that, remember there were about 12 practice problems. Well, there's about 12 in the homework. It doesn't always match totally, but most times I've made it match. All right, so let's go to question 1. All right, find the complement and the supplement of the given angle. So until you click in this box, you don't have anything down here. But if we click in this box, now we have some things we might need. If we need a fraction or an exponent or a square root, and if you hit more, you've got other things. If you need some theta or any of these things that you find, but you won't see them until you click in that box. Now, I wanted to, let me get rid of that so we can, okay. So I'm going to just put some numbers here. Just throw something out there. We know it's wrong. I'm going to check my answer, and it says 2 positive angles are complements if the sum is 90. Well, that obviously is wrong. So then usually you can fix it on that second try, but I want you to see what's going on if you miss it 3 times. So I'm going to put 60. Check my answer. We're still wrong. I'm just going to check it again. Final check. And so it says, oh, the correct answer is 44, and this is what your answer was. So that may give you enough information that you could go back and try it again. So now there's the second part. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to, we're going to put some numbers, if I can get in the box. All right, we're going to check answer. I'm just going to leave that answer and get to the end. All right, so it says correct answer was this was your answer. Now that the question is over, it says, do you want to go on? Do you want to leave this with you getting it all wrong? Or do you want a similar question and you want to try again? So if you hit this, okay, you start over. Now it's wrong, but if you get it right here, it's going to make that correct. All right. The other thing that I want to show you, if you are really stuck, you've been trying, you can't get it, you've looked at everything, you've studied things, you can't do it, and you need to ask me a question, if you'll go to Get More Help and ask my instructor, it will send me an email directly with your numbers. So I will get this information. So I'll know exactly what you're facing, and you can type in here what you've tried, maybe what your question is. Let me know something of what you're experiencing and what you need help with. And then you hit send and it goes directly to me. So that's really my preference for if you have questions about a homework question. That's the best way for me to help you. All right. So that's the way that goes. Let me go ahead and get out of here. Okay, so you've done you've done some homework and you want to look at your grade book. So if you go here to the MML grade book, and you can see I went in, I worked on that, and I spent 2 minutes, and this is when I worked on it. Now, I will see all of this in my grade book for when you worked on it, how long it took you, that sort of thing. This up here is for you. There are 31 homework assignments, 8 tests, and this one quiz is the final exam. It's just called quiz in the category. But you've worked on 1 out of 31. That progress bar will change every time you do something. But you can always get your average currently. Right now I have a 0 because I didn't get any points here. So, gradebook, you can always do that. I want to show you one other thing. I forgot to show you the test over here. So, after you've done these 4 and you've passed those, you might be ready for your test on Chapter 1. Please note, you have a 2-hour time limit on it. You have 2 tries. So if you take it the first time, it's kind of like a review. Maybe you do great, and that's all you have to do. If you need to take it twice, whichever grade is the highest will count in your final average. So it doesn't hurt you to do that. And that's the same now here on the Chapter 4. It's a little bit harder, a little bit longer. So you have 150 minutes, still 2 tries. And all the way down to the final exam, you do have 150 minutes and you only have 1 try. So there's no do-overs on that. You want to study for that one and be really prepared for that one. So keep that in mind as you look at your homework and your test. But again, these little flags will remind you, you've got to score at least 70 on each of these or the test won't open. All right. So I think that gives you an overview, and I hope that you feel okay about getting started. I look forward to working with you, and I'm right here to help you.